Ray Longo Minute every week here on the Anik and Florian podcast, and we thank the bantamweight champ Merab Dvalishvili for joining us amidst the technical difficulties. And you can imagine how many people are trying to get a piece of the man and get on his phone, but he did give us one particular gem there in terms of why individuals might go to the great nation of Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
All right. NBA Finals are here if you've been paying attention, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is pulling out all the stops to make this a Finals 2. Remember, here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Don't miss your last chance to bet on the NBA this season. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code AFPOD. That's code AFPOD for new customers to get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. When you bet $5 only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. All right, back to Kayla Harrison if we could. And the performance was incredible. The Kimura was particularly vicious. It seemed like it would have been a super consequential decision for Juliana Pena to fight a second longer in terms of any damage. She was grabbing her arm after the fact. That was a scary, scary end to the fight. And Kayla Harrison said she was prepared for a hard 25. She got it done at the 4:55 mark of round 2, KenFlo.
Yeah, I was most curious to see how she would perform if she did go into those championship rounds, just because, the weight cut looked like it was difficult, but she made it, and that was completely unnecessary. It didn't matter. She got that side control position, got a hold of that Kimura, and John, I agree. I think if she went any longer, she would have ripped that arm off, man. There would have been serious damage either to the shoulder, elbow, or both. So good on Pena, who is very, very tough. I was a little concerned because Pena sometimes will not tap to things like that. But when you're that powerful and that technical, you got to tap out. That would have been bad for Pena. But her position was just on point, man. She seemed very composed. This was obviously her first big fight in the UFC, and she executed beautifully.
It was nice to hear Kayla Harrison's story get told, and a lot of people were not aware of what she had done for her family, right? She ended up adopting her sister, who has dealt with addictions, 2 kids, and that came because their grandmother, Kayla's mom, suffered a stroke and was not in a position to take care of those children. She then unexpectedly lost her husband. A lot of trauma even before that Kayla Harrison had to deal with. So to see her here in this position, already had financial freedom, but she wanted the UFC gold on the mantle. She now has it. Certainly, she's right there neck and neck with Henry Cejudo in terms of combat sports accomplishments in totality, marrying the Olympic gold with the UFC gold. But it is harrowing, Kenny, as we spin it forward, to hear her say to Joe Rogan, God gets the final pound off. I can't do it. And you and Keith Florian have talked about you literally staring death in the face, and I don't know if this brings back PTSD for you in terms of hearing about them holding your brother back as you're trying to cut that final pound from 146 down to 145 pounds, but Kayla is not long for this, and the Amanda Nunes fight is going to happen at 135 pounds, and I think it might actually be Kayla Harrison's last cut. Win or lose. Maybe you do that fight twice if she loses. I think if Kayla Harrison beats Amanda Nunes, she's never going to weigh 135 pounds again as long as she lives.
I think you're dead on. What else is there to be done after you beat the greatest female mixed martial artist of all time? If she's able to do that, John, and I think it's going to be difficult, given everything that Amanda Nunes is saying and how she's coming back. But if she's able to do that, there would be nothing left to do, in my opinion. I think she should go out on top. I don't think there's anyone in the game at 135 pounds that is as good or will be as good as Amanda Nunes. Not for a while anyway, from what I can see. So I think that's a super fight that needs to happen.
So Kayla Harrison's manager, my friend Ali Abdelaziz, was hoping that maybe Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes would fight at 145 pounds and then move back to 35. I had a chance to talk to Amanda Nunes on the post-fight show. She's a bantamweight. She moved up to featherweight to fight Chris Cyborg. And yes, the weight cut can be difficult for Amanda Nunes, and it's going to be challenging coming out of retirement if she is to fight as soon as, say, November. But Kayla Harrison wants to give Amanda as much time as she needs. I think what was most encouraging for me on the Amanda Nunes front, Kenny, she's not just coming back for one fight. Ideally, she wins the fight, defends the title, and then she said she wants to stick around as long as her body will allow.
Wow.
I feel like Amanda Nunes needed a break. And if you're asking me right now, Kenny, and I know it's going to be a massive payday against Kayla Harrison, one of the biggest fights, men or women, that we can put together right now. But if you're asking me over under 3.5 more fights for Amanda Nunes, I actually think she's going to fight 4 more times or more based upon my interactions, the time spent with her this weekend.
Wow.
She's back.
Wow. I mean, she looked fired up. She looked like she was ready to compete again. I mean, it's always difficult for someone like Amanda Nunes, who has fought at the highest level, to kind of live a normal civilian life. But she seems motivated to go out there and fight. And again, she's another one. She has financial freedom. She doesn't need to do this for the money. I think she loves to fight, and to see her get that passion again, I think is a great sign. How old is Amanda, John? How old is she?
I think maybe 34 or 35.
Okay, yeah. So she's still young, man. Yeah.
Cody will chase the exact birthday. 37 now.
Okay, 37. All right.
As of May 30th, just turned.
Okay.
Just turned 37. So, yeah, we'll see.
Nice.
But she certainly sounded like an athlete that really wants to fight. Kayla Harrison is 34 years of age. My speculation is that Kayla Harrison's bankroll might actually be fatter at this point in time. I don't know. But you could be sure both of these ladies are going to make an absolute bag when they return. And Kayla Harrison right now is the minus 180 betting favorite on paper. I sort of felt as though, given the recent activity, her status as champion, the age, and everything else, that she might be the betting favorite. Amanda Nunes is plus 155. Demetrius Johnson and others have sort of come out and said they like Amanda Nunes in the fight, which I think is sort of interesting. She certainly is the best striker that Kayla Harrison will have ever faced. What are your thoughts, early thoughts, if I could ask you, Kenny, on that matchup, the betting line, and how it might play out?
Yeah, I mean, I would think that Amanda Nunes would be the favorite. I think that, she is one of the few who can contend with the athleticism of someone like Kayla Harrison, just based on her power, her size, her speed. She will certainly have a big advantage when it comes to the stand-up. And I think Kayla's, obviously, her ground game and her takedown ability, she'll have the advantage there. So, some people will say this is kind of like a grappler-striker matchup, but Amanda's not too shabby on the ground either. She does a good job of getting back to her feet. She's not easy to take down. And we saw Pacheco in the PFL, have a similar style to Amanda Nunes and found success against Kayla Harrison. So I'm curious. I would give Nunes the edge as of right now, assuming she's coming in here with passion and the willingness to kind of do all the hard work to get ready for someone like Harrison. I would give her the edge.
Timing is everything in life, right? Ketlin Vieira is probably thinking, man, I fought Kayla Harrison tooth and nail. I've since stacked another win on paper, and now Amanda Nunes is coming back. And look what I was able to do over 15 minutes with Kayla Harrison in terms of having my moments. So, yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility that Kayla Harrison can be extended by a fighter, beat by Amanda Nunes. And as Ray said, Jose Aldo can stuff some shots from Merab Dvalishvili. But my goodness, Kayla Harrison and Merab Dvalishvili, absolute forces right now as bantamweight champions. Kind of felt for Juliana Pena not getting a post-fight interview. We had every intention of giving her a microphone, but things just went exceedingly long with Kayla and then Amanda. And I think that was part of the issue with Mario Bautista not getting a microphone. Sometimes if you win by decision on pay-per-view, we're spinning it forward and you don't always get one. I know a lot of fans felt it kind of crazy that after 8 straight wins, Mario didn't get a mic, but hopefully we'll talk to him in about 15 minutes. Really curious to get your thoughts on the Joe Pyer Kelvin Gastelum fight. I believe you were able to ingest this despite the Wi-Fi. Yes, KenFlo?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I thought KG fought really well down the stretch and fought in a determined manner and mentally stayed in the fight after maybe being on the wrong end of a 10-8 in round number 1 in which he was knocked down. I thought Joe Pyer maybe sat on a lead that wasn't as big as he thought, but still a big win for Joe Pyer given everything that Kelvin Gastelum has done. What did you make of this featured bout maybe not being quite as electric as some had forecast?
Yeah, well, Kelvin had never been knocked out before, and I didn't think it was going to be easy to knock someone out like Kelvin Gastelum. But Joe Pyer came out hot in round one, not only knocking him down once but twice. Also landed a head kick from hell that I don't know how Kelvin was able to eat that one. But yeah, it was not going well for Kelvin. But Kelvin is as game as they come, man. I know he's at the end of his career a little bit and maybe didn't come into the fight in the best shape or what we've seen in the past, but still was fighting to the very end. I thought he had a very successful round three. I thought he won round three, but in round two, I thought Joe Pyer edged him out in round two. I would have liked to see him, and I think some of the criticism that Rogan and DC kind of were levying at Pyer, I think, was justified. I think he could have been a lot more active, or at the very least more versatile with his striking game. But he's still new with this. He's still kind of learning the game a little bit, and he'll get better and probably go back and watch that fight and look for ways to get better. But Pyer still a ton of potential, and Kelvin is not an easy guy to take out. So no shame in not getting the finish, but it would have been nice to see him throw a little bit more, variety of strikes.
Nicely analyzed as usual, brother. I don't really have too much to add. I am pretty bullish on Joe, and I think a lot of that just has to do with the Hunger Games, right? Just the obsession with mixed martial arts greatness, the work ethic, but also just the physical gifts and the undeniable power. I wonder, do I not have power or do I have power, right? Like when I was in high school, my best friend hooked up with my girlfriend, and I hit him with a left hook, and it felt pretty clean. How do I know if I have power or not? I'm serious.
That's a good question, man. I don't know. Hey, there's power, and then there's Joe Pyer power, right? So I don't know, man. I think some of it has to do with the structure of how you throw, but then there's the physical gift of generating force from the floor. And I think guys like you and me, maybe we don't have as much of those Pyer guys. I don't know.
Well, bone structure, bone density,
yeah,
right? I mean, you got a lot of thickness sort of in your thighs, and people are going to cut that up and do what they want with that quote, right? But, yeah, I mean, Sean O'Malley always says timing plus speed equals power, but he doesn't have Josh Emmett death touch power.
Oh
he just is a great athlete who sets it up well, right? But, no, a lot of guys, right, like wrists and hands and just big bone, you know what I mean? I wonder if I have power, If I own the building I was in right now, I might try to fucking punch my hole through a wall, but I'm not going to do it. All right, so I'd like to get to Kevin Holland, if we could. The pay-per-view opener against Vicente Luque. He gets it done with the Bravo choke. Was that a Bravo? A fucking Das?
Yeah, that was a Bravo choke. Man, did he look good. Kevin Holland just looked so comfortable out there and really had the opportunity to look great in this fight, and absolutely did that. Looked awesome on the feet. Did a great job of establishing the range. Seemed to be the quicker, more athletic guy. Kept Luque off balance all night. And then to finish, Luque with one of his signature choke. Luque has taken out a lot of guys with that choke. And to do that against a guy in Luque who's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, who knows about front chokes, in that manner, and just put on a clean performance like that, man, it was awesome to see, because Kevin's been knocking on that door. He's been looking for some momentum and consistency, and now I feel like he has it.
And he started the fight strongly, right? Got Vicente's attention when they were sort of clinched up with some of those strikes, and then that massive elbow behind the ear. Not a club and sub per se, I guess, but always great, right, when you can showcase your skills in this type of way, showcase your weapons on the feet, land a great elbow like that, cause a huge hematoma on the guy's head, and then choke him out like that. I mean, and, say what you want about Kevin Holland at 70 versus 85, but he is smiling backstage as he's about ready to get on the scale. I think if he needed to make 66, he could. So, dude, I like him here.
And another well-deserved performance of the night bonus, man. Amazing.
So what is the ceiling on Holland at 70? I mean, he's gone 25 minutes with some legitimate wrestlers at 85, right? Like Derek Brunson and Marvin Vettori. The Khamzat Chimaev fight is a little bit of an outlier and probably a terrible matchup, but he didn't prepare for the man at all. when you look at Jack Della Maddalena, who is a past opponent that he fought closely as the champion, can Kevin Holland, not that he cares about it, he wants the easiest fight in the division, can he be the welterweight champion?
I think he can. I definitely think he can. I think he's got the talent. There's no question about it. I know he's been working on his wrestling, but that takes a long time to develop. And where we've seen him have some problems has been against bigger, larger guys who can take him down and hold him there. And I think that if he continues to work on his wrestling, particularly his counter wrestling, his takedown defense, I think he could give anybody a big problem in that division. I think he continues to get better. He's working hard on adding skills into his game. So, yeah, I think his chances at 170 are greater than at 185 for sure.
It was 2023 when he fought Jack Della to a split decision, and that is good sort of history for Kevin to have as he moves forward. But he's prize fighting in a lot of respects, but he works really hard. He has plus skills in every area, and even though he isn't thinking championship trajectory necessarily, in this division, it's really, really intriguing to see what he can do. And for Vicente Luque, I know this is a significant setback. He'll be back, but he had an amazing training camp, and he had a lot of momentum, and Kevin Holland takes it over the weekend. All right, let us get to Mario Bautista if we could. He's scheduled to join us here in about 5 minutes, so hopefully Mario comes through. But gosh, man, it was an intense week surrounding this fight. You know, Patchy Mix did get misquoted on UFC Embedded, right? He was referring to the New Englander Jay Perrin as the journeyman when he was watching video of Mario and sort of said, he's kind of getting clinched up here by a journeyman. Imagine what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. He wasn't calling Mario Bautista a journeyman, but he also said he was going to go right through him. And a lot of the humility that we have all come to expect from Patchy Mix was nowhere to be found during his first UFC fight week. So what do you make of everything I just said and Patchy Mix kind of going heel in advance of a forgettable UFC debut for him?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because as I was watching that clip, I said that's the kind of attitude that could actually get you upset during a fight just because, you know, for me, Mario Bautista has shown that he's a guy that can beat anyone in that division. Anybody with a win over someone like Jose Aldo is going to be a big-time threat. And, you know, you got to watch out for those guys that stay quiet, that work hard, and that go out there and win consistently. And Mario Bautista has only done that basically in the UFC. And, you know, with that much momentum and with the striking advantage that he had seemingly heading into that fight against Patchy Mix, I knew it was going to be a difficult fight for Patchy. No one is going to just walk through someone like Mario Bautista.
Cody, can you check and see if Joshua Van's in the back? I just got a message from his public relations guy. And if he's been in the back for 20 minutes, I'm going to send that guy the biggest package of his fucking life. But I'm going to tell this guy maybe he had the wrong link. I guess we're having some StreamYard issues. I'm being told that we're going to have to shut this whole thing down and get back on. So hopefully this has been content that has gotten out to you on YouTube. We're going to try to go back live in a little bit, but it doesn't look as though StreamYard is allowing new people to get on. So we're going to try to re-rack this thing shortly, but hopefully you all have enjoyed the last 70 minutes or so. And episode 554 continues after this.